Hello, everyone. My name is Edgar Kamper. I'm currently COO of Dafco P2P Lending platform. Today, I will introduce you to the lending model in the new era. It is P2P lending, which is a loan model which can directly connect lenders and borrowers, and more specifically, Dafco P2P lending. So we'll compare with the traditional lending model, Cefi lending. And through that, we'll have a clearer view of the potential of the lending model of the digital economical Dafco P2P lending. So by 2020, the 4.0 technology revolution has created many changes in all aspects of human life. The technological revolution has also brought about the transformation of the digital economy, changing the whole economy in general and the financial market in particular. This digital economic transformation has also opened up new services in the financial sector. Typical of them are the P2P or peer-to-peer lending services, lending. And the most prominent is Dafco P2P lending, developed to compete with the traditional lending services for example, Cefi lending. So what advantages does P2P lending have over traditional Cefi lending services? Let's talk about that. So the traditional lending service, Cefi lending, their mode of operation. As you're very familiar with, in the Cefi lending model, banks will act as an intermediary to concentrate cash flow to carry out lending activities. Inside, so a lender is a person who deposits money in a bank, entrusting the bank to use their money to get a relatively low profit. Savings on savings, we can call that. A borrower, as you know, borrows money from the bank and then pays interest to the bank for each specified period. Could be a day, a week, or a month. So as such, the bank will act as an intermediary to connect lenders and borrowers. However, the bank will also be the biggest beneficiary of these loans, as the percentage of interest payable by the borrower will be much greater than the percentage of interest paid by the bank to its customers. So the banks are the ones who do very well. So the features of Cefi lending, as you know, as you're familiar with Cefi lending, in the Cefi lending model, the lender will look for a fully reputable bank, usually a large bank or a national bank. But these banks will only provide a very low, sometimes negative level of return. So negative interest rates is the interest rate a bank can impose on its customers in order to navigate the customer's deposited assets and currencies in the direction desired by the bank. So this means the bank is going to keep much more money. Applying a negative interest rate means customers will have to pay for the assets deposited at the bank. This goes against the desire of each and every customer to profit from depositing money in the bank because the bank keeps more of the money. So for example, starting in 2021, customers of the Bank Nordea will incur negative interest rates if the deposit account exceeds 250,000 krone. Okay, so the risk of losing nothing for the lender is for the borrower. In the Cefi lending model, all sources of money are flocking to one point, which is the banks. So a sender could lose part of or all of his money if the bank goes bankrupt. In the past, there have been many good examples of losing assets when a bank goes bankrupt. For example, the bankruptcy of Washington Mutual Bank, once the 6th largest bank in the USA, went completely bankrupt on September 26, 2008. This bank the money evaporated. 307 billion US dollars just gone. Lehman Brothers, another example, they went bankrupt on September 15th, 2008. They used to be the 4th largest bank in the USA with more than 26,000 employees. The bank lost $45 billion in market capitalization in nearly 10 months. So, they also have a very complicated lending process. In the Cefi lending model, banks are in charge of managing your money. So they created a multi-step process to test borrowers' ability to pay. However, these processes have disadvantages, such as the inconvenience of depending on the assessment staff. How do they know how to assess your money with their interests in mind and not your interests in mind? Also, determining the ability of an individual or a business through one or more appraisal staff will inevitably avoid gaps such as individuals' subjective opinions, corruption, and already the bank wants to keep as much money as they can. So another point is it's an outdated process. Most of the bank's processes have evolved from those predating the third industrial revolution. So this is a long time ago. These processes are developed from the following 5 basic steps. Okay, so first we prepare a loan application. Then we have an analysis of the credit requests for the borrowers by the banks. Then the banks decide whether to lend or not. Then the money is sent out. We can call that disbursement. Then step 5 is to supervise the debt collection and to supervise the liquidation of loan contracts. Okay, so now let's see what Dafco P2P Lending can offer you. Advantage-wise, we just talked about some disadvantages of the traditional banking model. Okay, so to be more suitable for the bustling development environment and catch up with the digitization of the economy, the P2P lending model was born. First, we should know about the development environment of Dafco P2P lending. In the UK, in 2014, the UK was the first country in the world to build a system of laws on peer-to-peer lending. Accordingly, peer-to-peer lending platforms must be licensed through the Financial Conduct Authority to grant credit and become a member of the Credit Information Center. So unlike the US, within the UK legal framework, peer-to-peer lenders can make loans as well as look up credit information from the national databases without having to become a partner of the bank. So right off the bat, it's easier. The UK government participates in these peer-to-peer lending platforms to invest in small businesses, as well as to provide tax incentives to individuals who need capital to invest through lenders. In addition, to further encourage private investment in this sector, the government also introduced a program called Innovative Finance Individual Savings Accounts in 2016. The program allows individuals to use some or all of their annual investment subsidy to lend through the peer-to-peer lending market in return for both interests and interest tax exemption, which is a great benefit to the customer. This step is very important in the strong growth in both quantity and value of peer-to-peer lending in the UK. So with the conditions created by the UK, we have developed the Dafco P2P lending model with outstanding advantages to compete with the traditional Cefi lending model and hopefully eventually replace the traditional model to keep up with the world's economical digitization. So the method of peer-to-peer lending, Dafco P2P lending, which will directly support connecting borrowers and lenders. Okay, so we're going to go borrower, lender, that's all. The lender will actually manage his account and the interest income from his loan. There's no need to go through a third party, such as a bank, to make lending. In addition, lenders at Dafco P2P lending will be guaranteed capital sources with the development policy of Dafco P2P lending. So the borrower, after identity verification, will be able to borrow the funds directly from the lender. So once again, there's no third party, there's no bank. So there's no need to go through a third party. After the identity verification, the funds can go directly to the lender. In addition, borrowers through Dafco P2P Lending will also benefit from Dafco's policy when they only need to pay interest rates with the loan value at the time of the borrowing. That is, after that there is an increase, they only need to pay the exact interest rate determined at the time of the loan. So as everything else goes up, your interest rate is staying the same. For example, you're a borrower and you go through Dafco P2P Lending successfully, and you have successfully borrowed an asset of 100 Dafco token equivalent to, let's say, 100 US dollars. The interest you pay is 0.1% per day. So every day you pay 0.1 per day. But after 7 days, each Dafco token has increased in price by $3. This means the value of your loan has increased to $300. However, with the policy of Dafco P2P Lending, you also only have to pay the same 0.1 per day instead of 0.3 per day. So as the value goes up, your interest rate stays the same. The lender and the borrower will be tied together on the amount, percentage of daily profit by a smart contract. And the smart contract will automatically complete loan procedures when both the lender and the borrower are eligible. Okay, so Dafco P2P Lending is a bridge for borrowers and lenders to have opportunities to approach each other. However, unlike the traditional Cefi lending model, with the Dafco P2P Lending loan model, the lender will enjoy all the interest the borrower pays for the loan. Again, the lender will enjoy all the interest the borrower pays for the loan. So, the advantages of Dafco P2P Lending. Not only that, Dafco P2P Lending is considered the leading lending model for the P2P lending model because of its extremely unique characteristics. So, the lender is the person who determines the interest rate. In the Dafco P2P lending model, the lender will be the one who sets the interest rate up to 1% per day. So the interest rate, the loan period, as well as the loan amount. This is the lending method in which the lender can truly own his money. There will be no more negative interest rates or too low interest rates that are meant to be advantageous to the banks. Okay, another point. The borrower is the person who decides which loan to borrow. In the Dafco P2P lending model, borrowers will have the option to cooperate with different lenders and be able to determine the right norm for their financial needs as well as their own ability to pay. This is difficult to obtain with our Cefi, the traditional Cefi lending model. This is another advantage of P2P lending. So, another example is lenders' capital is guaranteed by Dafco P2P lending, unlike the traditional Cefi model and the traditional banking model. Based on the development policy of Dafco P2P lending, the lender's capital will be secured by Dafco P2P, leading to ensure its integrity. This means that after the loan term ends, 100% of the capital and interest will be transferred to the lender's account, not the bank's account, the lender's account. So, the simple procedures and fast is another thing we do at Dafco. We keep it simple and we make it fast. In the Dafco P2P lending model, all procedures will be executed automatically based on the smart contracts. The smart contracts will automate the manipulation of borrowing and lending. As for the tasks that borrowers and lenders have to do, it's just a few clicks. So despite such a simple and fast procedure, along with this advanced technology of smart contracts, borrowers and lenders can also be extremely assured with their loans because smart contracts will not be affected by external factors. It will automatically check the necessary and sufficient conditions of both the lender and the borrower to perform its lending task. So, in conclusion, I'd like to tell you that according to the development of information technology, people are gradually adapting to a new economy, a digital economy. The development and application of advanced technologies to old-style service and product models is indispensable, very valuable. And the development and application of the Dafco P2P lending model is also an obvious thing in this new era, the economically digitized new era. So not only that, Dafco P2P lending, thanks to leading the trend in developing services for the digital financial economy, will develop into an indispensable foundation in our development future. Okay? So let's talk about the development potential of Dafco token. Not only that, this is the most suitable time for investors to own Dafco tokens. Since its launch, the Dafco token has grown from $1 to $1.6 per coin, up 160% from the initial ICO. Okay, this is a staggering boost for a cryptocurrency, very big boost. Through borrowing and lending, customers of Dafco P2P lending are able to own Dafco tokens when the loans on the platforms are converted into Dafco tokens. So the reason for this conversion is to determine the value of the Dafco at the time of the loan. This value will be a measure of how much interest the borrower must pay the lender. And as we spoke about before, the interest rate is locked in for the borrower. So Dafco will close the investment gate in Dafco token on January 1st, 2021. Closing this investment gate will make it difficult to own Dafco token. And using the Dafco P2P lending will be a simple, effective method for investors to own this extremely developed currency. So, moreover, the development potential of Dafco token is also guaranteed with a healthy ecosystem where Dafco P2P lending is just a part of the ecosystem. According to the experts in the financial industry, the value of Dafco token will increase to at least $100, 100 US dollars by June 2022, thanks to the solid development of the ecosystem around this coin, system ecology of Dafco. Not only that, according to the data mentioned above, the Dafco token has increased 160% in just months, a short time. This is a staggering number as the Dafco token rumor does not have a strong ecosystem to underpin it. But with that strong development, plus the development of more solid ecological environments around the Dafco token, the issuer, Dafco, P2P lending, together, these ecological environments will create a solid ecosystem and will be a strong driving force for the value of the Dafco token. With such an ecosystem, the value of the Dafco token will increase to $100 certainly sooner than the financial experts' assessment is in June. They said it will increase in June 2022, but we really believe it will increase a lot sooner than that. Thus, investing in Dafco P2P lending, not only to develop personal assets for the present, but also a way to invest in a profitable future, thanks to the presence of the Dafco token. Well, it was really nice speaking with you all tonight, and I look forward to speaking with you all next time. So everyone have a think about what we talked about today, and I look forward to speaking with you next time. Have a nice day or night.